right, let's go ahead and crank it up. Man, what do y'all think was gonna happen? The car was gonna crank up and everybody was gonna go home and live happily ever after? I don't think so. Y'all know when y'all building a car, it does not happen like that. If y'all got one bolt left, that bolt's gonna strip. If y'all putting the spark plugs in, one of them's gonna break. If y'all putting the hoses back on, the hose is gonna leave broken. Nothing ever goes on easy on these builds, but good thing we're here and we're gonna make this car crank up, I promise you. We need three things, remember, air, fuel, and that's right, spark. So we're gonna go ahead and tackle these air, fuel, and spark on this car and make this thing turn on so that we can actually finally enjoy this car, even if it runs real slow. All right, guys, so anytime you guys take the 86 Corolla fuel tank down, you're gonna need a 14 millimeter, and it's got two hangers. It's got one here, so you just carefully bring it down. Also, they have some hoses on the back end, so don't just drop it. Have your jack ready, so whenever this fuel tank falls, you can place it under your jack, and you can begin to slowly bring the fuel tank down. That way you won't rip anything off, so let's go. Make sure you got this thing balanced out. Oh boy, I'm sweating. This thing's tough, man. We're gonna go ahead and pull this thing out. Drop it all the way down. No que no. So we haven't yet opened up this fuel tank, but I'm almost 100% sure that this thing is rusted out and needs to be replaced. So let's take a look inside. I ain't gonna believe this. Apparently we thought this thing was like super rusted, and it got some tiny little pinhole rust, but it actually looks really good. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Come on. Come on. But it actually does not look that bad. As you can see, it has some particles in the bottom, but it's not that bad. What do you guys think? All right, guys, so as you can see, the OEM fuel tank looks good. So if something's not broken, why even try to fix it? So we're gonna go ahead and use it. I prefer the OEM fitment. It just fits a lot better in the vehicle in all aspects. But what we are gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and replace the fuel pump. We went with the Walbro 255. You can't go wrong. It's a universal, it's a standard upgrade for any vehicle. So Walbro 255, we're gonna throw it in here, and we're gonna pick up any leftover residue with the magnet, and we're gonna move on to fixing something that we unexpectedly ran into. Let me show you what it is. All right, so this car really doesn't have a lot of rust, but as you can see right there, this has rust there. Kind of runs a little bit on the surface rust here. Now, I think somebody tried to make a cutout, so they were gonna make a repair here. So I think we're gonna, before we put the fuel tank back in, we're gonna cut that out and make a repair. Somebody told me to use a magnet and just let it rip. So that's what I'm doing. I put a magnet in here, and we're gonna see how much of these metal particles we actually pick up. Let's see. That's actually working. You can see just by a quick little put in there, I picked up some small particles. Those are all little metal sheddings. What was that? I'm scared. Some of you guys might have heard of this. It's called evapor rust. If you have not, you don't know what you're missing out on. This is by far the best invention for rust I've seen. It works so fast and it's very safe. I'm not being sponsored by it yet, But hey, Evaporust, if you want to throw a sponsor out here, I will gladly take it and show this product and what it can do. All right, so on these Toyota Corolla, the 4H motor, also maybe the SR5 engines, they all have a fuel filter here in the engine bay. Now we went ahead and we got one. It's definitely part of the process we're looking into replacing. We're gonna start off with the fuel filter and fuel pump inside the fuel tank, and then we're gonna replace the engine bay fuel filter. They're very inexpensive. They're probably about 16 bucks, but I'm almost certain that the one in this car is so clogged up that it's probably not even letting the fuel run all the way up to the fuel injector. So let's go ahead and change this out, and we're gonna be one step closer to trying to get this car cranked up. And we're gonna start by removing the hood. That way it can give us easier access, easier clearance, better lighting on the engine bay so it will allow us to see exactly what we're doing. Oh my goodness, that fuel filter is definitely clogged up. Trying not to break anything. So let me show you why it's important to change out your fuel filter. So you can see that, my friends, is not, I repeat, that is not how fuel is supposed to look. But first what we're gonna do is we are going to actually try to run some air through the fuel line and get all this old fuel out. You do not wanna mix all that junk into the new filter. So let's go. What I have is a hose here, and I'm just gonna put it directly to the line. The last thing I wanna do is be shooting back in all that nasty fuel. Ooh, I don't know if y'all heard that. Got the fuel coming into the back. We got all of it. But I got some fuel back in my mouth. As y'all can see, we indeed did push back that fuel and made a mess here, but the good thing is that we got it out. All right, so now that we have the fuel line emptied out, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and remove the throttle body so we can get to the fuel injectors. Now, I'm almost 100% sure that those fuel injectors are clogged up and they may need to be cleaned. Pulling out the fuel injectors right now, and these pieces of junk look like junk. Man, they're so bad. It's not even funny, dude. Hope I don't break anything else. Look at how bad and rough fuel injectors look. Thank you, whoever was tampering with this before me and jacked it up. All right, guys, so as you saw, the fuel injectors, they were just destroyed. Fuel injectors were pulled out because we were having trouble cranking it up. And one of the big issues on these cars, especially with over 200,000 miles, is that these fuel injectors, the seals seem to rot out. Whenever I got to the fuel rail, I literally could move it almost to the point of pulling it right out. So it just let me know that the seals were completely gone. Some of the fuel injectors were clogged up, so proper fuel was not going into the engine as it should. We're gonna go ahead and check these spark plugs out. Since I've owned the car, I do not know the condition of these spark plugs, but I guarantee you they're not good. We're gonna go ahead and pull out these spark plugs, check them out, replace them, and then we're gonna go ahead and clean around the area. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's dirty, dirty. All right, so like I mentioned, the fuel injectors are pulled out, so we're gonna go ahead and drop them off somewhere so that they can clean them, restore them, test them out, and make them look like new again. Let's dive into these spark plugs. This is what the spark plug looks like. You can tell a lot about the internals of the engine by looking at the spark plug, so let me know. It looks like it's Might be burning some oil. All right, guys, so we went ahead and bought 4 NGKR. We're gonna swap out these spark plugs and we're gonna get it going. And right off the back, there's a, identify what the problem is. Somebody, anybody, ding, ding, ding. One of y'all got it, one of y'all got it. That's right, this bolt on the spark plug is way too big on the second one. I don't know what the heck they sent me. We're actually gonna go to the parts store and we're gonna go buy some brand new spark plugs. All right, guys, so we did end up going back to O'Reilly's and we got the right spark plugs. The first time we bought them, we thought they gave us the right ones, but I think they gave us the ones for the SR5. They do thread in, but the bolt around the spark plug, it's a lot bigger. So let's go ahead and throw the actual correct one so that we can get a really good spark and we can eliminate and check that off the box. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to freak out. The first spark plugs, they gave me the wrong spark plugs. I had to go back to O'Reilly's. I had to reorder them and it took a whole day for them to get here. So I finally picked them up on the way home. And as I am putting them in and I'm taking off the cardboard cap that they come with, oh and behold, that's right, somebody used these and brought them back. And that's my fault. I should have checked the package. Always check the package before you leave because now I gotta go back. Delay after delay. Man, we gotta cut this thing out. So you guys remember those old busted up fuel injectors, cracked seals, clogged up fuel injectors that we pulled out of this 4H engine? Well, I just came back from picking them up and this video is brought to you and sponsored by none other than Fuel One. These are the only guys that I trust with my fuel injectors. Man, these guys refurbish my fuel injector. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Bam, right there. It's in the evidence right there in the fuel injector. These things came back phenomenal. These guys are fast, these cars are efficient, and these guys will supply your every fuel injector need. Anything from refurbishing to getting yourself a brand new fuel injector that's gonna accommodate the type of build that you want. Anything from high performance to a standard OEM spec type of fuel injector, these guys do it all. So I'm gonna put their website below on the description and hit them up, guys. They do local, they do outside of state. Anything you need, they got you, guys, and I will vouch for them any day of the week. Fuel One, they have to be your first option for fuel injectors. Nobody else. So go check them out, guys. You won't be disappointed. Let's get back to this video. All right, so we're gonna start by putting these fuel injectors on. We're gonna be using the grease. See how nicely these things are packaged? They even cap them off. We're gonna go ahead and put that grease around the seal. That way it won't be so tough putting them on. And bam, just like that. And just like that, we got some properly working fuel injectors. Let's go ahead and install this fuel rail on the car. Oh, no. No, I just broke this throttle. All right, so after some heavy duty struggling, we finally got these fuel injectors in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and replace this fuel filter right here. And it's very, very easy. We're gonna just hand tighten it for now. All right, and there it is right there, looking all nice and pretty. Real easy. So this is gonna be the third and hopefully the last time that we are gonna try to put spark plugs into this car. We've had 2 fails, none successful yet. So it's gonna be a third time. The frustration is definitely kicking in, bro. We are gonna try to put these spark plugs in the car. Let's go. All right, guys, so you guys remember this broken throttle position sensor? Well, I want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Rafael, who sent me a replacement out of his good and dear heart. Man, I appreciate you so much, bro. You didn't have to, but you did, and I want to give you a shout out. I appreciate you, and because of this, my car's gonna be one step closer to running. Thank you. All right, so we pretty much got all this kind of bolted back up, all the connectors. Now, we're gonna jump to the fuel tank. What we did was put the Walbro 255 fuel pump in the gas tank. Remember, the gas tank was super good and super nice, so we're gonna end up using it because it's of the perfect fitment. We also bought an aftermarket fuel sending unit. Y'all know anything aftermarket, there's gotta be some type of modification. Like I said, these project cars, nothing ever goes on easily. Yeah, nothing. So we had to make some modifications to get it to fit. But let me show you what we did and how it looks. We're pretty proud of the results. Okay, so this is the fuel sending unit. As you can see, we had to tap a hole right next to it in order for all the bolts to line up. One thing about this fuel sending unit, because it's aftermarket, we had to modify the wiring. We took the original end, we put some new wire on there, and then we just tapped into each. We have power, we have sending, and we have ground. So, and then we put the 255 Walbro fuel pump in here. Now we just gotta adapt the neck, and this thing's gonna be ready to go. All right, let's throw this fuel tank back on. All right, so I'm here behind the car, and y'all remember the wheel well? Let me show you. So we ended up putting some tack welds on a bunch of the spots that have pinhole rust to close them up. We ended up prepping the whole area. I ended up using Bondo fiberglass just to kind of seal it all around. It came out really good. And then some POR 15 to seal the whole thing around. I'm happy with the results, but the fuel tank is back on and we are about to get it started. Well, at least try to get it started. Let's go. That's right. We're about to crank it up with the garage open. We don't want to die from carbon monoxide poisoning. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it going. Crank number 1, action. Make sure your car is on neutral. Test number 1, let's go. Oh. It's alive! Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we strive to do. Let's get back on the camera. That is what we strive to do, to get these beautiful cars cranked up and running all over again. And that was just a quick little example. I'm gonna try to crank it up again. Oh, that sounds bad. All right, so we tried to crank the car up multiple times. It did kind of spin over and turn on for a bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the mass airflow connector. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Mass airflow connector right here. This thing is alive, ladies and gentlemen, and it's purring so beautifully. Check it out. Woo! That thing stayed on for more than 5 seconds. We made progress. All right, so you know what's gonna make this build successful is we can take it around a block successfully at least one time. But before we dive in, I thought it was only best to wear my 86 shoes. As you guys can see right there, bam. Right there, get that Nike right here, Nike 86. These are from Japan. These are the 86 Corolla edition. So I thought it'd only be fair that we take so much time to build a car, try to get it running, and we gotta wear the shoes. It's the shoes. This is gonna make it all better. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump on this car and make it a successful lap around the block. Let's go. Test number 2. It felt good. And that concludes this episode of this thing is. If any of you guys live around the Spring area, we're gonna need some help pushing this thing back up, brother. My brother's the strongest one in the block. Look at him pushing the car by himself. My back. Come on, brother, you can do it. The automotive projects team is counting on you to get this thing right back into the garage. Come on, brother. And that, my friends, is how you do a first test drive the incorrect way. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about what's happening right here. I think it's a slave master cylinder to the transmission. So it looks like it's stuck. It's engaged on the clutch the whole time. So you really got to pump it a couple times so it can kind of disengage and kind of get a little bit of that clutch in. So, I mean, the car was dying. It was a rough ride, but the important thing is we got it on and we were able to kind of test drive it to get our self-esteem up, understanding that, hey, we're doing something good. But I think this car is going to need some work on the clutch. It could be, you know, the slave cylinder like we mentioned. So that about concludes this episode of Automotive Projects. I think we did a fairly good job considering the fact that, I mean, we just don't know what exactly it was. Ended up being that plug to the mass airflow sensor. We figured it out thanks to my boy Angel. Shout out to Angel for giving me that insight on what it could be, and it turned out to be the issue. Shout out to my brother Moses too. He had an intel in his gut, his left side of the gut. Told me that it could be the mass airflow sensor too. So you guys were good. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Stay tuned because this project, this build is only going to get better and better. Thank you guys for all the loyal followers that we've had, all the watchers, all the people that have liked this, all the comments. We love the comments. We love interacting with our fans, people that love just the general concept of building cars. Thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Automotive Projects out. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a quick minute to give one of our followers / subscribers a huge shout out. She sent us these Hot Wheel cars. This is what she does. She sells these type of cars and they're phenomenal. I mean, she currently sent us this 510 Datsun. This is actually one of our first builds that we have on the channel. And then she sent us this 86 Corolla. This is the Torino Sprinter Edition. We have the American version, the GTS here that we're working on. So thank you so much for just sending us these vehicles. If you guys wanna sponsor a young entrepreneur, please do so. Her link is gonna be down below, and just go ahead and show her some love too. Thank you guys. If you guys wanna see some more Hot Wheel cars, we're gonna post them on our Hot Wheel wall, which we don't have yet, but we are gonna build. Thank you guys.